Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to the episode of my F1 2019 career mode, episode number 55 today for the Hungarian Grand Prix in Season 3. If you guys did miss the previous one, then be sure to go check that one out before you see this one. But heading into Hungary then, we've got finally actually an email about the potential next year's regulations changing. We don't know what that will be quite yet, so hopefully that comes in on the next episode. Obviously, we didn't get a regulation change from Seasons 2 to 3, so that was a little bit annoying in a way, because it meant like it was a kind of a samey-same in terms of the pecking order of Toro Rosso remaining up top here. And I guess obviously for us, we've got to the max car, so it definitely would be kind of nice to have a regulation change and a reset for things, just to shake everything up for the series basically going into the next season. So looking forward to that actually in a way, even though I'm in the team that kind of stands to gain from not having a reset. I think it'll just be much better for the series. It definitely would have been a bit more interesting maybe if there was one into this season. But anyway, we go into Hungary then. McLaren upgrade enough to now be the best team on the grid, and of course we've maxed out the Toro Rosso, so McLaren, I don't know if they've maxed out, but now they've got us on paper for the rest of the season. Obviously our car's still going to be strong, because in reality the R&D chart doesn't tell the full story of what the car's like out on track, but that is how it looks like on the actual graph itself at least. But Hungary, I expect it to be a bit of a difficult one for maybe myself in terms of the tyre wear. The AI generally a lot better at it, and the consistency of it, especially with the tyre wear upgrades as well, so that might be something to contend with. But I think we still should be able to go well, compromising on the setup of downforce and straight line speed. So let's go to qualifying and see how we do. Thankfully, finally, there's no rain forecast for the entire race weekend like we've had for the last 3 episodes. So maybe we have a bit of a calm quali session and a calm race for once.
We hope you're looking forward to today's qualifying in Hungary as much as we are. We think it's going to be a cracker. This has been an exciting track in times gone by, and typically it entertains the moment the lights go out.
We've seen in the past how tricky the first corner is. It's not an issue in practice and qualifying, but if you throw a lot of highly competitive drivers at it all at once, you've got an entirely different situation. The smarter drivers will be able to temper their approach and stay out of trouble, but it doesn't mean it's easy.
So we start off the first part of qualifying then in Q1, unfortunately getting held up a little bit by Dan Ricciardo here, and going through these last few corners, I actually didn't realise how much dirty air was possible here in Hungary. I really felt the effect of Ricciardo's car right ahead of us, because the car was feeling great up until I caught him in Sector 3, and then started locking up instantly in 2 corners in a row and just not having the biting I wanted on the front end there. So that's going to be something to contend with maybe in the race as well, in terms of not wanting to get into traffic potentially, which is going to be easier said than done, because Hungary is just so difficult. It is of course Monaco without the barriers effectively. Sector 2 is going to be horrendous, I would say, probably in the race if we do meet any traffic, but hopefully the car performs well enough that we don't need to worry too much about that, and the only cars we're fighting are the cars around us like the McLarens. But we go into Q2 then, we made it through into Q1 nice and easy, across the line up into P8 that is, and so that's not a great lap time. And as we fast forward through this session, I was P9 and it's looking a little bit close there. I think the only person who stands to knock me out maybe is the Williams cars. We go through it to the end of Q2, we just about make it through into the top 10 shootout, but I say just, I mean you can see there Vettel improved, Magnussen improved, so the 2 Williams were very close to kind of pushing me down there. Lance Stroll may improve his lap time, he could have been up there, or maybe Hamilton even, but no, he was knocked out. So we make it through just by the skin of our teeth into the top 10 shootout, and so now we go. But so far it's not looking great, I can't lie. Compared to Leclerc, he's had me this entire weekend here. Q1, Q2 comfortably in my back pocket, in his back pocket I was basically, so I don't know how this is going to go. But you can see here the first final lap I did was actually pretty good. I was only 200ths away from Leclerc, so right now it's a 1-2 for Toro Rosso. It's so close there, so that was promising. But now second run, and so I'm trying to get a bit of time here and a bit of a gap on the track there. Let through Sebastian Vettel. Leclerc awkwardly is right behind me, but I'm going to keep on going here because I've got a bit of a gap to Vettel. This works, the gap to Vettel. Hopefully I'm not going to catch him too quickly on this final lap here, but Leclerc is quite close to me, so obviously he might get a bit of a toe and slipstream off me on this main straight here, but he should hit some dirty air. So maybe, I don't know, fingers crossed he doesn't go any faster and I can go faster to try and get that pole lap off him. But let's see, as we go into Sector 3, we do unfortunately catch Sebastian Vettel. We've hardly gained enough time there on our first final lap. Then you can see getting a little bit flustered, trying to gain too much time in that right-hander and getting crossed up there behind Sebastian Vettel. And you can see the on the top there, it's going red and green as I try and wrestle for some lap time found. Leclerc, it remains in P1, I'm P2, Perez P3, Butler P4. What will it be as we cross the line? It was purple second sector, green first sector. What's it going to be across the line? It's only P3 there as it updates. And Leclerc, what the hell? Leclerc with the insane lap time there. How did he set that lap time behind me? That just goes to show that I think the simulation time just did that for him, because there's no way he set that time actually physically behind me, unless he was on like an out lap there. But absolutely crazy there. So like I said, Leclerc has had me in his back pocket this entire race weekend, in a race where we need to try and bounce back from Germany, where we lost points to him in the championship. This is not what we need. He's looking absolutely mighty. So I think this is going to be a very tough Grand Prix actually for the championship versus our teammate. Obviously against other people we still have some decent speed there, you know, very close to Verstappen in third place to second place, but even that I was surprised Verstappen got me there. So we might be on the back foot here, and I can't lie, it might be a bit of a difficult Grand Prix for us. So let's just see how it goes then and go to Sunday.
It's always wonderful to come back to the lively Hungaroring. A popular destination this, nice and close to the beautiful city of Budapest, with some exciting racing to boot. Who can forget Michael Schumacher pushing his old teammate Rubens Barrichello up towards the pit wall in 2010, or those great races of 2014 and 2015 as well. 14 corners then for our drivers to navigate at the 2.7-mile Hungaroring today. It's 6 lefts and 8 rights around a lap here, with average speeds in the region of 120 miles per hour. Joining me for today's race once again is Anthony Davidson. Can we talk about Toro Rosso? What do you make of their performance so far this season?
Well, the atmosphere within that team seems very positive at the moment. Everyone seems like they're in great spirits and having a lot of fun doing what they do, and that's definitely contributed to the performances we've seen.
Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's race. A fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday puts him on pole, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have the engineer, Perez, Devon Butler and Faber, Norris, Vettel, Gasly and Kevin Magnussen, Stroll, Ricciardo, George Russell and Hamilton, Grosjean, Raikkonen, Nico Hülkenberg and Daniel Kvyat. Giovinazzi and Valtteri Bottas begins the race from the back of the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
Right, so no grid penalties to talk about then, so we do start in P3, indeed, right behind our teammate Leclerc on pole position, Verstappen alongside us. The strategy will be a one-stop, unfortunately, here at Hungary. I'm assuming most people will go with this, soft tyre to the hard, obviously, with Season 3 levels of tyre upgrades. That's just going to be the way it is. We're going to reduce the fuel as ever and just try and see what we can do, but I just don't think the two-stop's going to be really viable for us. Like I said, with the traffic especially, and that Toro Rosso in Q1 with the dirty air behind Ricciardo, I just don't fancy even attempting the two-stop. We'll just get caught up in way too much traffic. So it really just will be a toe-to-toe fight and trying to see if we actually have the raw pace to take on Leclerc and even try and get Verstappen. We know the start's going to be pretty hard as well, but I mean the pace that Leclerc showed all through Q1, Q2, Q3 doesn't have me with too much confidence here, but we'll see. You never know. Anything can happen in F1, so let's just get into this then and see how we do. As we're now going to go to those 5 red lights for the Hungarian Grand Prix, the race right before the summer break if this is real life. Here we go to 5 red lights and we're off and on the way. It's a very slow start for us. Surprise, surprise. It's a great one for Sergio Perez on the right-hand side, shooting up my right, and Butler as well on the left. We're down to P5. It's been a horrendous start as Weber also taps us round. Meanwhile, Verstappen goes down the inside of Leclerc to get the race lead in the Renault. Leclerc second place, then we slot in just ahead of Sebastian Vettel, who's come out of nowhere around the outside now. He's going to have a jockey at us then as he's on the right, on the inside for the next right hand as we go down the hill into the end of Sector 1. We maintain that P4 just about, but a great start then from Sebastian Vettel to get about 3 positions in his Williams car. Weber then gets him back for P5, but it's obviously a slow start like I thought would be the case here. It's a long run to turn 1 at Hungary, so just more time for the AI to have such an OP start and get us into turn 1, so was always probably going to happen, but alas, we're here in P4 at least, and now we can settle down and try and concentrate on trying to attack and catch back up to our rivals here. Sergio Perez in 3rd place ahead of us on lap number 3 this is. Leclerc, you can see up ahead, is still in P2, so Verstappen had a great start but has maintained that pace of that Renault, and so even though the Renault is quite far away in the R&D shot to Toro Rosso and McLaren, he's looking very, very decent indeed. But now we move on towards lap number 5 then, chasing after Sergio Perez. We've got a great run with DRS of course, and it's going to be a massive dive to the inside of turn 1, but we make it stick on the apex there. But Perez might have us on the switchback actually though. The Mexican gets the throttle on a lot earlier than us. We've got DRS here, but that's not going to help us because he's just got the better straight line speed then off that corner. He's gone to the inside then to defend the position. We go go the long way round and so close to tapping his side pod there with the front left tyre. But it's a sweet as you want move there to the inside then to get the move done. But at what cost? Because now as we move on to the end of that lap, look at the bottom right there on the heads-up display. The internal tyre carcass temperature on the left-hand side is absolutely cooked there. I'm having to slow down really quite a fair bit on purpose, trying to slow the car down, trying to cool the tyre off on the carcass temp. But it just goes up again as I exit the last corner. And now Perez comes knocking in on the left, and also Lucas Weber is not too far behind. So this is not what we need, but this is where we are now. I'm losing time to Leclerc and Verstappen. The race win, even just P2, is slipping away from us right now in this first stint because the tyre is absolutely gone. Once you've got the tyre temperature, you know, shot up on the internal carcass, it's so hard to bring it back in. We saw that, I think, last season, remember, at Brazil in the Alfa Romeo. It just shot up and would never come back down. And so by the time we get to lap number 7, it's literally brick orange and red at one point there, you know, in the third sector, basically on fire. And so we have to come in for an earlier pit stop when they wanted to. My team wanted me to come in on lap 8. I was scheduled, I think, default on lap 7. So in the end, I've actually matched what my default said, but my team obviously wanted me to go longer and try and match up with Leclerc. So this is just a bit of a longer stint now on the hard tyres, but hopefully the hard tyres don't heat up like that. Obviously, they're going to be a lot harder to even rubber in and heat up in the first place, so hopefully they don't overheat like the soft tyre. Very, very sensitive tyre indeed, the Red Wall tyre here at the Hungaroring, but that was an absolute nightmare there. We lost at least a good 4 seconds, I think that was, in the span of 2 laps there to Leclerc and Verstappen just trying to cool down that tyre. So made the earlier stop, and now we have to contend with that infamous traffic here and the dirty air as we overtake Giovinazzi, go down the inside, but Giovinazzi tries to make it 3 wide into the chicane, and we make it work actually somehow. 3 went into 1 there, and we went down the inside of both Kvyat and Giovinazzi into the chicane. Wonderful stuff there. Don't know how no one got damaged there, but we made it work. And so now we get a move on here onto lap number 9, down the inside of Valtteri Bottas and Romain Grosjean on the double dive bomb. We also overtook Sergio Perez, who was coming out the pit lane on the pit lane exit there. You might have seen on the right hand side there. So effectively a triple overtake on that main straight, and so we're up into P12. So trying my best to basically not lose too much time in the traffic, and this is why teammate in the pits then the message comes up. So Leclerc has come in 3 laps later than myself. So now we push hard now as we move on to lap number 10. Where is he going to be? He's absolutely nowhere to be seen. He's actually jumped that. Look at the minimap. That entire train of 5 cars, he's ahead of that train. So Leclerc is really bolted in this race. Verstappen's bolted, and so I have a lot of work to do now. We've got a lot of laps left, admittedly. We've got 25 laps left in this Grand Prix, but that's a lot of time to find. You know, you're talking at least, you know, good 4 tenths per lap to try and catch them back up there. I just don't know if we can do that. You know, if you look at the pace we had versus Leclerc earlier on in qualifying. But first and foremost, we have to try and get past this massive train here, which looks absolutely revolting. It's tail-ended by Hülkenberg. I think it's led by Lance Stroll. So the 2 Racing Point cars are basically just making this entire hurdle I have to try and get. And so Hülkenberg in sector 3, very slow off this right-hander, which is usually nearly flat out in qualifying. Here we're going to go for a move on the outside there, just try and feather the throttle. It's a screen freeze for good measure as well. Around the outside we go though, and we're up into P8 then. And so now Hamilton is our next target here. Again, always weird to say that really, because Hamilton, obviously the man we fought in the championship last season, now really just another back marker, another slow car I need to get past in the midfield or on the tail end basically, as we move on to lap number 12. DRS open, overtake mode going, and rich mix, and we're going to go for an absolutely horrendous dive to the inside there. But you know what? We make it work from so far back. Absolutely blistering on the brakes there for the Toro Rosso of ours, and we're up into P7 then. Next up, George Russell in the Ferrari, and then you've got Raikkonen, my former teammate, who's sandwiched actually by both Ferraris of Ricciardo as well, ahead of him, and then it's the other Racing Point car of Lance Stroll. But catching up to Russell can be quite awkward maybe as we go up the hill in sector 2, but can we find the space like we did against Giovinazzi and Kvyat, I wonder. We're gaining some good momentum up the hill on the left hand side, but Russell's going to block that off, and so we shimmy and shake on the steering wheel and go for a late dive, double lock up there, but we just about make it through and slow the car down for P at number 6, so making all the overtakes. It really is the overtaking show here at the Hungaroring at the moment here, but obviously all the time we're losing time basically to Leclerc and Verstappen effectively. Now we go through on towards lap number 13, literally pushing Raikkonen through the corner because he's so slow there mid-apex, even though he's on medium tyres, but I suspect by lap 13 maybe very second-hand medium tyres. And meanwhile, you've got Lance Stroll defending against Ricciardo on the inside of turn 1. We're up into P5 now, so we're 2 places away from getting back into the P3, which we were in before the pit pit stops, but obviously all these guys very awkwardly started on the mediums and they're trying to go long on this one stop here as we now go to the inside of Ricciardo. Another screen freeze to contend with, but we make it work thankfully there. But you're getting a lot of screen. I don't know what it is with this game now. As we go on through this month, I feel like it's getting more and more unoptimized. I've had about 3 or 5 screen freezes so far in this Grand Prix. Very, very odd indeed. But now we go sailing round on the outside to the inside of the next part of the chicane, and it's a great move on straight. I must say, even though it's frustrating that I'm losing time to Verstappen and Leclerc, it's been some really great racing here. Some fantastic moves we pulled off on the AI here today as we get up into P3. But now we've got a bit of a gap to try and chase after Verstappen. 4-second gap, actually. That's not too bad, actually. I thought it was going to be a lot bigger than that. So 4 seconds, that's actually pretty doable, I reckon. With the pace of the Toro Rosso, we should be able to just about do that as we get on later onto the Grand Prix. And so we are going to catch up as we move on to lap number 17 then. Verstappen has been very slow indeed, actually, to my surprise. He's been losing quite a fair bit on one lap. I think he lost about a second nearly to me in Sector 2 it was. As we now try and catch up to him, though, we're slowing down a little bit as the tyre wear kicks in for us. But, of course, that was the first time I was in clean air, so maybe that's why it felt so quick. But now we've closed up to the Dutchman. Lap at number 18. We couldn't do anything on lap 17, but we're finally in his DRS zone, effectively. That was lap number 17. So can we try and size up the move now on 18? But once we've got him, then we've got an even bigger gap then to Leclerc. I don't know how we're going to do that. I don't think we're going to be able to do that, but let's just see if we can try and at least get the P2 and try and limit the damage here as we try and just pressurize Verstappen a little bit. But to be honest, I'm just kind of waiting around for the main straight, I think. We're not going to be able to make a move in the corner here, as it were. So here we go now. We've got hot lap mode engaged. We'll go to overtake mode, obviously, if we go towards 7th gear. Open DRS on the line. Richmick's been going this entire time, and so we'll just wait for the car to gain the speed. And so here we go. It'll be a very easy move to the inside there. Verstappen tries to squeeze us a little bit, but it's no use there, and we're up into P2. But Leclerc, look at that. Fast after the Grand Prix for him. He's out there cruising. We're up into P2. We've made it a Toro Rosso 1-2, but like I said, Leclerc has had me in his back pocket the entire race weekend through Q1, Q2, Q3, and so it was just never going to be a thing that I could probably envisage me catching him up here. And so we move on all the way to lap 35 then. I've tried to push as hard as I can using all the rich mix I've got, even still got some more because the engine's so efficient there, but use DRS, hot lap mode, overtake mode, all the tools at my disposal to try and catch up to Leclerc, but the gap is still maybe just about 2 seconds there to Leclerc. I've even gained on Verstappen. I pushed him away by 2 seconds, but Leclerc just had me and kept me there at bay, so he goes on to win the Hungarian Grand Prix. We come home to make it the Toro Rosso 1-2 in second place, but alas, Leclerc gets even more points on us in this championship fight.
Top job, my friend, top job. I was a bit worried about this one at the start of the weekend, but you pulled through. Thank you.
So, another fantastic victory for Toro Rosso today. Anthony Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
Well, I know it's a bit of a boring answer, but the truth is they simply had the best speed package on the day, and a driver who knows how to take advantage of that. It doesn't matter how much time you spend poring over the stats and planning strategies if you can't keep the pace, and our winner today showed they could do both.
As we await the winners to take their positions on the podium, one thing is clear. Toro Rosso, this is a team that isn't afraid to take risks, whether that's on the circuit or in the new talent they hire. Today, those risks certainly paid off.
So the team are going to be happy with that 1-2, but I am not completely happy there, as now the gap is 11 points to Leclerc. We're not careful, we need to be cautious there, because 11 points, that's a lot really in F1 2019 career mode so far on this game, and so we don't want Leclerc to build momentum here, getting points on us, so we need to come back fighting very much so at the Belgian Grand Prix. But just a little note at the end of this episode, guys, you may have noticed there was no replay cameras throughout the entire episode. Again, that's actually because if you follow me on Twitter, you'll know, again, the game crashed on me at the race results. Thankfully, I did mid-session save it about halfway through that final stint where I was trying to catch Leclerc, so I was able to finish the race and still have the same result of, getting P2 and P1 there. But, yeah, again, the game crashed on me. I don't know what exactly it is. I might have to switch back to DX11 because I'm on DX12 right now, so might need to switch that. But just a little insight once again, if you were curious, if you were just pondering why there weren't any kind of replay cameras once again for that episode. But yeah, that's been the Hungarian Grand Prix then, guys. We move on to the Belgian Grand Prix next time, and we have have to try and fight back and turn the tides on Leclerc. 11 points, that's a bit too much for my liking right now in this career mode. So guys, if you did enjoy this episode though, be sure to hit that like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you are around here, good to subscribe for weekly 4-1 content. I've been aarava. Have a good day. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.